chosen one. They say there is a hidden doorway, a gateway to a life of abundance that most people never even realize exists. If you've ever felt a strange nudge in your heart, like something bigger is calling, you're not imagining things. There's a reason you keep seeing 11:11 on digital clocks, noticing uncanny synchronicities and hearing whispers about God's chosen. You might wonder, is all this just a coincidence, or is there an unseen hand at work? Today, we're diving straight into a realm of possibilities that defies conventional logic. The idea is simple, but carries explosive potential. A divine gate of wealth that opens at precisely the moment you align with a higher calling. Chosen one, some call it superstition, others hail it as the ultimate blueprint for spiritual and material success. The controversies are many. Skeptics have labeled it a hoax, a marketing ploy, or nothing more than wishful thinking. Yet those who've walked this path claim their lives took a dramatic turn the moment they awakened to the signs. They believe 11:11 is more than just an angel number. It's a summons to step through a gateway designed by the Most High. If that sounds intriguing, you're in the right place. Because the truth behind this phenomenon may shock you, and it might just be the missing link you've been seeking. People who consider themselves chosen often report uncanny coincidences. They dream of specific warnings or blessings, then see them fulfilled in real life. They speak of revelations that show up unannounced. Is it pure chance or a sign from heaven? That's for you to decide. But one thing's for sure, there's a wave of fresh energy stirring in the spiritual community. And once you see what's really happening, you can never go back to pretending life is just a series of random events. Buckle up, because we're about to explore the controversies, the rumors, and the mind-blowing revelations tied to the notion of a divine gate of wealth that appears when the clock strikes 11:11. Chosen one. Consider all the people who have felt something brewing but have never been able to put their finger on it. They sense an inner pull, a whisper in the silence that tells them life has more in store than mere survival. This tension often starts with small signs, maybe repeated numbers, goosebumps in moments that seem otherwise ordinary, or a tingling feeling that destiny is calling. The conflict arises when the world around them seems unmoved, too busy with everyday concerns to notice these subtle clues. As a result, many keep their observations to themselves, half convinced they might be delusional. And then come the rumors, the speculation. Some talk about spiritual accusations swirling in the background. Accusations that those who chase after these signs are naive or gullible. Others go so far as to say it's a form of escapism, that people who look for meaning in repeated numbers or cryptic dreams are just running from real-world responsibilities. But what if those rumors are missing the mark? What if there's an actual gateway, an energetic, divinely orchestrated opening that triggers your path toward wealth and purpose? It's easy to brush off this idea as just another online trend. The internet is crowded with messages claiming to hold the secret to overnight success. But if you look closer, you might notice that these so-called coincidences line up far too precisely to be accidental. People who once struggled with finances stumble onto unexpected windfalls right after they take a leap of faith. Others who felt a calling to serve or create suddenly find themselves in positions of influence they never imagined possible. Are they reading too much into chance happenings? Possibly. Yet the unspoken tension lingers. what if they're not? And what if there truly is a gate, one that opens at the intersection of your faith, your decisions, and a divine timeline marked most prominently? The concept of a divine gate of wealth isn't new. If you dig into historical accounts, ancient civilizations spoke of portals to prosperity, windows of time when the heavens and the earth align to shower blessings on those prepared to receive. In modern times, these ideas have been resurrected under different guises: prosperity gospels, manifestation portals, angel numbers. Yet the heart of it remains the same. Certain windows of opportunity exist, and if you're not paying attention, they'll pass you by. Of course, rumors abound. People gossip that those who chase these beliefs end up disappointed, bankrupt, or even ostracized from mainstream society. Some claim they know someone who pinned all their hopes on a special date and ended up losing everything. Still others say these beliefs are just another way for certain individuals to profit from the desperation of the masses. Every rumor, every speculation adds another layer of noise, making it harder to separate fact from fiction. So, why would anyone bother? Because when you scratch the surface, you find testimonies that are difficult to dismiss. A single mother who was on the brink of financial ruin sees 1111 repeatedly in the weeks before she lands a job triple her previous salary. A doubting college student experiences an unshakable sense of purpose right after stumbling onto a video that talks about the chosen ones. And from that moment on, every step leads him to deeper spiritual insight. Coincidence? Maybe so, but it's enough to keep the rumors alive. Yet here's the shocking twist that most people don't talk about. It's rarely just about money. Real wealth in these circles is about stepping into the fullness of your calling, emotional health, mental clarity, relationships that thrive, and yes, financial prosperity as well. It's a holistic upgrade, not just a quick fix, and that alone differentiates it from flimsy internet gimmicks. Those who take it seriously tend to approach life differently, adopting a mindset that welcomes opportunity, invests in self-improvement, and trusts that something greater is guiding them. All of which leads to the question, are these people onto something real, or have they crafted a grand illusion? The only way to find out is to look at the moment when everything changes, the pivot point that shakes up even the fiercest skeptic. So many testimonies hinge on a single breakthrough moment. It's the day when you feel like you're at rock bottom, and suddenly a hand reaches into the darkness with a spark of hope. For some, it comes through a gut feeling that says, take that risk. For others, it's a supernatural experience, something they can't logically explain. And still others encounter a bizarre twist of fate, like a mentor appearing out of nowhere, or an inheritance they didn't even know they had. Critics are quick to point out confirmation bias. If you're already looking for a sign, you'll read meaning into anything. That's a fair argument. But what if the sign is so blatant, it disrupts your entire worldview? Think about the person who wanted to quit their job, prayed for guidance, then got an unsolicited message from a company they never even applied to, offering exactly the position they'd been dreaming about. Coincidence or synchronicity? For someone already open to the possibility of a divine plan, it feels like a direct message from above. This is the turning point that drives the skeptics wild. Because once a person experiences that moment for themselves, they become nearly impossible to convince otherwise. Suddenly, all the rumors of flakiness or gullibility fade into the background. They've witnessed something real, or at least real to them, and no amount of outside doubt can overshadow their personal conviction. The moment changes them, shifts their energy, and catapults them toward a future they never would have dared to pursue before. They start to claim, "I am chosen, I have a purpose," and it's not an empty mantra. It's a deeply rooted belief that fuels new actions, new decisions, and eventually new outcomes. But that was only the beginning. Because once that switch is flipped, the pace of transformation ramps up dramatically. People describe breakthroughs happening in rapid succession, from unexpected financial gifts to instantaneous healings that doctors can't quite explain. And all of it, so they say, ties back to the notion that when you realize you've got the Most High on your side, limitations begin to dissolve. Skeptics can scoff, but the ones who've walked through that gate aren't going back. And it's about to get even more intense when we address the biggest mystery of all. Why 1111? Ask anyone who's really into spiritual numerology, and they'll tell you 1111 is like a blinking arrow pointing straight to your destiny. It's often called the awakening code, a universal prompt that says, pay attention. Something bigger is at play. People have reported seeing 1111 at crucial junctures, right before meeting someone who changes their life, moments before they get pivotal news, or just as they're about to give up on their dreams. It's as if the universe, or the Most High if you prefer, is using the clock as a megaphone to get your attention. Still, there's controversy. Some rational thinkers argue that we notice 1111 simply because it stands out visually. It's 4 identical digits. They say it's no more mystical than seeing 222 or 333. But for those who connect it with a spiritual path, 1111 isn't just a cool pattern. It's a cosmic appointment, a sign that a gate is opening. Add to this a layer of prophecy that claims certain dates or times of the year, especially when the calendar hits November 11th or the clock hits 1111, can usher in a wealth portal, a direct route to blessings waiting in the wings. Recently, there's been a swirl of talk about how certain months carry special weight for those who see 1111 repeatedly. Some believe that April or November triggers a global shift in consciousness, making it easier for the chosen to manifest their highest visions. Critics, as usual, label this as superstition, but the fact remains that people across the globe share remarkably similar stories. The more they pay attention to 1111, the more synchronicities pile up. That alone is enough to keep interest buzzing. Whether or not you personally believe it is up to you. But if you're one of those who can't shake the feeling that 1111 has singled you out, you'll want to keep watching. Because the deeper you dig, the more shocking the revelations become. Naturally, this path isn't all rainbows and miracles. Often, the gateway to abundance shows up in the thick of chaos. Job loss, relationship turmoil, sudden moves, or even illnesses might strike just as you start noticing 1111 everywhere. At first glance, it feels cruel. Why would blessings come wrapped in pain? Then the rumors start flying. That's what happens when you meddle in spiritual stuff you don't understand. Or you're opening doors to forces beyond your control. The confusion can be overwhelming, but those who stay the course notice a pattern. Sometimes the chaos serves to sever your ties to what's draining you. People, habits, or environments that keep you stuck. It's akin to clearing the field before planting new seeds. You might endure heartbreak, job upheaval, or a crisis of faith, only to emerge with an unshakable sense of direction. Surprisingly, many claim these trials were necessary to purge old baggage. Without that purge, the new blessings wouldn't have the space to flourish. Controversy flares up around the idea that God chooses the strongest battles for his toughest soldiers, or that the universe tests us to see if we're ready. Skeptics roll their eyes at this explanation, calling it spiritual victim blaming. But for those who have walked through the fire, it resonates. The meltdown was part of the metamorphosis. It's shocking how many testimonies include a dark night of the soul, immediately followed by a breakthrough that seems too perfectly timed to be random. The old life collapses, and then an entirely new one is born, often better than they dared to imagine. As you hear these stories, you start to sense a common thread. The so-called chaos is a catalyst. Stripping away illusions, it forces a confrontation with who you really are and what you truly desire. By the time you emerge, you're aligned. And alignment, they say, is the key that unlocks the divine gate of wealth. Because once you're no longer shackled by fear, shame, or past trauma, you step into life with clarity and boldness, making you an ideal candidate for miraculous provision. There's almost always a catalyst, a book, a random conversation, a near-death experience, or even a viral YouTube video that brings everything into focus. Suddenly, the person who was fumbling in the dark realizes they're standing at the threshold of a gate. That gate, in their eyes, is the divine portal to wealth and purpose they've been hearing rumors about. But no two catalysts are the same. For one person, it's a spiritual retreat that blows their mind wide open. For another, it's an inexplicable dream that keeps haunting them until they take action. What's consistent across all these accounts is the sense of inevitability. Once the catalyst appears, the wheels are in motion. Sure, the individual can still choose to ignore it. Free will is never overridden. But those who heed the call describe it like stepping into a current that swiftly carries them toward their destiny. They move from fear to faith, from excuses to execution, and from lack to abundance in a surprisingly short time. Critics label it emotional manipulation or coincidence. They say you can't prove divine intervention. But try telling that to someone whose entire life has been turned upside down for the better. They'll say, I don't need to prove anything. I'm living it. And that's where logical debate hits a wall. Subjective experience, especially one packed with synchronicities, holds tremendous persuasive power. Whether you think it's cosmic design or pure luck, the outcome is the same. Transformation so profound, it borders on the miraculous. This final piece of the puzzle separates casual observers from true believers. And once you cross that line, there's no going back.